Hi guys, so we should get started in about a minute now. Just try and go live. Okay, so we'll be looking at the market, what's happening in the market, and we'll be analyzing some trends, looking at some stuffs we've discussed in the past. For those just joining this first official stream that we are doing, and we'll be talking majorly about what's happening in the crypto market, sharing some ideas and some trends, and also some projects that you can be capitalizing on, and also some of my trades. Actually, I'll be sharing that. Yeah, also, I'll be joined by some other speakers in the crypto space or in the finance space, subsequently to also share their ideas about market trends and sentiments. So this whole live session is supposed to last for maximum 20 minutes. So if you have questions, you can join the community or you can leave a comment and I would respond. Yes, what we'll be looking at today, let me briefly just share my screen. I'm looking at how the market has been performing. For those that are part of the Sasumis community, that are in the TG group, you would know I've shared some ideas. There are some trades I shared 2 days ago on Sunday about the market, what to expect, and also how to position yourself for profits. Now, it's really nice to see that most of our trades are actually in like reasonable profits. If you notice today, you would find out that we have privacy coins trending. Now, this was actually this was actually forecasted. We spoke about this, we anticipated this trend, and I personally told you guys that the project that would kickstart this trend is actually Zcash because it had a very sustainable pump for almost 3 straight months. Zcash has just been on an upward trend, and overall, it has done almost 1000% return. Now, one thing you want to see when you're seeing trends like this, and if the trend will be sustainable or not, you want to see the project that started that trend maintaining upward momentum, and most importantly, you want to see the volume sustained on a daily basis, also on the weekly basis, which is one thing that Zcash did very well. So if you look up Zcash charts and the price action, so that won't be going deep into charts, by the way. But if you look at the price action on CoinGecko, you find out that Zcash, this was the price of Zcash as at April, May, it was like $36. And today, Zcash is at 400. And so you can see clearly that it has moved over 1000% within the last about 5 months or thereabouts. It has done about 1000%, which is insane. Now, if you're in the crypto space and you've been around for a while and you could not tell that this would start a new trend of privacy coins, because what we know Zcash for over 10 years, about 10 years now rather, is a privacy coin. That's what Zcash is majorly about. And if you're an OG in the crypto space, you will notice that there were certain privacy coins that were dominating in like 216, 217, the 217 bull run. There were certain privacy coins that were up there. If you look at them, top 20 cryptocurrencies, you find out that Dash was obviously there. Even Decreed, you find that Decreed was also there, XVG, and some others. Now, it was a no-brainer. Sincerely, it was a no-brainer move. Seeing Dash last month, Dash was below $40 or thereabouts, and Zcash as at then had gone to almost $200. It was a no-brainer to expect Dash to take off from the month of October. That's when I got into Dash, by the way, October. It was a no-brainer to expect Dash to take off, sitting at, as at then, below $600 million LTV. To expect it to take off to where it's at today. For those that follow up with what we do in the community, you would notice that you'll notice something very important. On Sunday, I might share the link later on Sunday so you can go listen. I spoke about these privacy coins on Sunday. As at Sunday, Dash was around $82 when I was speaking about it. And I categorically stated it on Clubhouse that Dash was going to move to break the resistance it was facing around $92, $93. That was pushing it back to 80. It's going to break, and once it breaks that, we're heading for 135. 2 days after that has happened, and now it's consolidating around this range, trying to build some momentum there before making another all-time high, possibly for this year. Now, I also was very vocal about some of this stuff. So I made some tweets about it too. I dropped some tweets here. So let me just see if I could cite some of the tweets that I dropped about Dash. Maybe I'll highlight that later. But before that, let me just share some other coins that can also move in this market. So Dash, for some persons that might want to jump in on Dash, for me, I'm not buying any more Dash. I've already accumulated enough, and I've taken profits. I've taken capital out, profit out. I'm running risk-free. Zcash, I didn't really catch the Zcash bump, except for Zcash that I bought since around 2018. I bought it almost at $170 then. I'm still holding those Zcash till date. I've not sold anything from there because it's in my hard wallet, so I've not sold anything there. So I'm still holding that. It's up over 100%. Dash, I'm in good profit. Now, some that I'm looking at, Decreed, I got some Decreed, but not much. I got some, I think on Saturday at slightly below $20. I got it 100% up. Then some others that I'm looking at that you might want to, it's like an XVG. This is another OG project. I got XVG yesterday. That was yesterday morning that I got it. Now you can see XVG. This is also another OG project that's been around since I think 2015, 2016. Around the same time that we had that we saw the creation of Zcash. Yeah, because Zcash is actually a fork of Bitcoin for those that don't know. It's around the same time this whole XVG Verge was created, and it was also one of the top cryptocurrencies way back then. At least it was among top 50 in CoinMarketCap as at that time, not CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. And Verge was actually there too, and it was holding its value pretty well. But looking at the chart, it has dumped like really, really well. If you look at the chart, that's really dumped. So let me just max it out. So if you look at the chart, you can imagine where it was as at 217, about 14 cents, 20 cents, 217. Now you can see how badly Verge has dumped over the years. So you can imagine should Verge break out. Now the crazy thing is most of these OG projects are also listed on Binance, and they are also paired with Bitcoin. Yeah, that's one of the crazy stuffs. These coins, most of them, they are listed on Binance, the OG projects that have been around for the longest period of time. And in some exchanges, they are also paired with BTC, which is a good thing because now they can appreciate against the price of Bitcoin. While Bitcoin is dumping, as we have seen for almost 2 months now, Bitcoin has been gradually correcting and trying to go to a previous support zone of $101,000, which is actually a good thing for altcoins because the market dominance is gradually reducing. So most of these coins, if you look at their BTC charts, Verge against BTC or Zcash against BTC, you'll notice that they have appreciated. Zcash on its own has appreciated over 800% against the price of BTC. Verge is about to start. I'm not pulling up the chart now because I'm not logged into my TradingView account. So maybe tomorrow I might look at some of those charts. But it's very important to observe that Verge is about to break out. And just today, it has done almost 20%. If you look at the price of Verge today, it has done about 20% move. So let's look at some of the top gainers, which is another easy way to identify some trends. So if you go to CoinGecko, most times if you want to identify new trends, if you go to CoinGecko and you look at the top gainers, yesterday, as at 4 p.m. yesterday, Decreed wasn't even up to $38. It was around maybe 26 or 27 yesterday. around 4 p.m. But today, it's up over 100%. But that's obviously a privacy project. Same thing with Dash, same thing with PIVX, also a privacy project listed on Binance, So if you go to CoinGecko and you look at the top gainers and you analyze the projects there, this is how to identify some trends most times. And you look at the category of projects there, are they in the same category? That's one of the fastest way. Now, if you look at this and you find out that most of the projects here, they are either OG projects or they are projects that are doing something relating to privacy. Decreed, Dash, PIVX, I think Zane, and Zcash, I think Mina too. I can't really recall. I think Mina, Verge, they are all doing stuff relating to privacy. Now that's one way you can be able to tell that, oh, interesting. So something is most likely starting this catalyst. Now you can now narrow down your research to looking at which project started it, how long this trend has been there, and most importantly, what's like the volume. Now the volume is very interesting. Look at Decreed, very stable volume, over $100 million. The volume is very important because it's the volume that will determine if you're able to exit with profit or not. Very, very important. And Dash, over 1.8 billion. That shows you that whales have jumped into Dash to be able to rack up over $1 billion volume. Now, if you look at Dash yesterday charts for the past 1 week, you notice the volume too has been constantly increasing gradually every day. It's the same pattern too with Zcash. So that's how you can be able to observe some of this thing. But if you look at PIVX, which is one of the reasons why I did not really accumulate this PIVX. I didn't really. But from where I've been observing, it has actually moved, but I didn't just buy it. It's because the volume was relatively slow, and the days that I was checking it, the volume hasn't increased the way I wanted. And I think another reason too is because I was heavily invested in Dash with most of my spare cash. Whereas for Zcash, most times the best thing to do is abstain from trying to FOMO. I caught the Zcash train late, like I said earlier, so there was no point me trying to jump in. Even if I started seeing it moving from $100 and something, there was actually no need because I felt it was quite high. I just had to hunt for lower ones. Now for XVG volume is actually good. You just need to pay attention. Is the volume increasing? Look at the trading volume tomorrow while also looking at the chart if it's holding up its upward momentum. Now, most times, some persons can say that you also need to pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing. You need to look at Bitcoin charts. Yeah, sometimes it's important. But there was something I shared on Sunday Clubhouse, or something I told most persons that were live. I told them that, see, when there is a trend, and that trend is very strong, and that trend has broken out, it's on upward momentum, there's huge volume. If Bitcoin dumps, that's fantastic. Reason, it would give you better entry. That's just what it will do. It will allow you to accumulate. If you're a futures trader, Bitcoin dumping, you'll be so happy because it will give you like the best entry position for the trend, not for Bitcoin, by the way, for the trend. So if you look at like quick example, if you look at this privacy coins trend, Bitcoin dumped and dragged Zcash, dragged Zcash, I think 2 weeks ago to about $190 or so. October 11th, when BTC dumped and crashed the whole market. Immediately, Dash recovered back above $200. BTC dumped again a few days after and dragged it back to like 220. And Dash recovered very fast to about 300. Now, when BTC starts doing its minor pump, Zcash, not Dash, Zcash will pump even more. That pattern is the same thing with Dash. So last week, when BTC dumped, it forced Dash to come down to about $45. I think that was Thursday or thereabout last week. Forced Dash to come down to about 45. Now, knowing fully well that there's a privacy trend, BTC coming down is giving you the best entry point for the privacy coins. You just need to find like a support zone or an order block that you want to long from or something. Or if you're a spot trader, support zones where you can accumulate. It brought Dash to $45. But immediately Bitcoin was able to stabilize at 108, as at then, 108 and like 110. Dash was now able to pump above the resistance of $55. And on Sunday, when Dash tried getting to like $95, 93, 94, 95, and BTC started dumping again, it forced Dash back to the support again of around $80, which was another fantastic zone to like accumulate or long, which was what I was telling them on Sunday. Once Dash goes above the $95, which all it needs is just for Bitcoin to just stay around the particular zone, just behave. If Bitcoin is dumping to 103 or 104, it should dump fast and just hold that line. Immediately, these coins will break out. And that is exactly what we saw happen yesterday. And it has continued this morning too. So expect similar things to happen for the other privacy coins until we're out of this trend. And how do you know when we're out of the trend? Obviously, volume will start dropping. Obviously, the volume you're seeing in most of the privacy coins start reducing. Most of them will stop making newer highs. You get those kind of things. But for now, I still think there are still some good ones. My money right now is on Verge. I'm still holding my moon bag for Dash. I have my money on Verge, and most importantly, I have my money on LTC, Litecoin. Most persons don't know that Litecoin is actually a privacy project too. Most persons have no idea that Litecoin is a privacy project, and it's yet to break out of its consolidation zone. So we are seeing Dash rally. We have seen Zcash rally because they all broke out. We have seen Zcash flip so many projects. Like Zcash has flipped more than 5 solid projects within the last 72 hours. Monero, Litecoin, Avalanche, Hedera, and even Sui. And Zcash did all of this without any announcement of ETF or any institutional backing, just because of the trend and the narrative. That shows you how powerful a trend and a narrative can be. So I'm really on the lookout for when Litecoin break out. I'm really on the lookout for that. And for me, that Litecoin breakout is when it goes above $150 personally. Once I see Litecoin above $150, we should have seen that breakout in the month of October for Litecoin. We should have seen that in the month of October for Litecoin when Litecoin got to this point. This was the day we should have seen like Litecoin breakout and go above $200. Now, if you notice, you can also see the volume on this day, over 1.6 billion. If not for the dump that happened in the markets, manipulation and all that, you can see how it crashed really bad. If not for that, and Litecoin was able to break out, by now we would have been seeing Litecoin at maybe probably $250, and the pump would have continued, because once a project is able to break above a very strong resistance zone that has been holding for years, most times it's not so easy to bring it down below that zone. That's the same case with both Dash and Zcash and a few other projects. So you can keep your eyes on Litecoin and maybe check up tomorrow where we'll still talk about some other projects. So I still have some other interesting stuff I would love to share relating to the market. Maybe tomorrow I might open up some charts, try to log into my TradingView account and maybe look up some charts and do some brief analysis, or talk about some airdrops that I'm actually looking at. But for today, I think that's what we'll be looking at. Reason is the time. Trying to keep this as short as possible, and so that people don't get bored and tired. So please, if you have questions, any question you want to ask or something you want me to look at, you can leave a comment or you can check for the link and join the community. You can ask your questions there. Today's Twitter space, we have a Twitter space this evening by 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 7 p.m. So we have that Twitter space. You can join the space and you can ask certain questions real time. and I would respond to the questions. So before I end this live stream, someone is asking which coin is good for spot traders. Okay, so like I said, personally, I'm buying SVG, that's Verge. I've spoken about Litecoin for a while because I've been holding Litecoin. I've spoken about Dash. Litecoin hasn't moved, so you might want to back that. You might want to back SVG. I'm also holding NMR. NMR, okay. Just a minute. Let me just share my screen for the NMR just so you don't get confused. So, by the way, I didn't talk about BTC today. Most likely I'll do that tomorrow because of time. So I'm actually holding NMR. NMR, since Bitcoin has been misbehaving, has just been holding its position. It did not dump. Since Bitcoin has been trying to dump from 111 to 103 today, if you notice NMR, it hasn't dumped. It's facing a resistance where once it breaks out of it and it goes above 14.5, it will most likely snap to like $22, $24. You get, despite whatever Bitcoin is doing. What Bitcoin just needs to do now is hold that particular level. Once that is done, NMR will be able to break above the resistance it's facing. So it's about doing that over the weekend. You can check here. Let me just make this 1 month. It was about to break out. This is it here. It was about to, but Bitcoin didn't let it. You can see the last time it tried to again. That was that period that we had the dump. Good. So it's been unable to go above that. Now, immediately it goes above that zone, we would easily see it get to like 20 $24. So this is just like a quick chart that I'm showing you guys from CoinGecko. This is not diving into the trading view charts. So I hope that helps out in case you want to buy some of the coins I'm holding. Just stated a few. Yeah, so thanks guys, and see you guys tomorrow same time where I'll still live stream to show you guys some of my trades and some things I'm looking at in the market. Bye for now, guys. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Bye, guys.